All right, so the recording has started. I'll share my screen now and we will continue from where we left yesterday. Is my screen visible to all of you?
Yes, yes, yes.
Very nice. So this is where we
Thanks,
saw
Mataji.
yesterday, right? That about the rock music. Uh, so that there also he says clearly. So people had asked, no, like, is it fine to club Hare Krishna Maha Mantra with rock music? He's saying, right, he's answering that question also. Bhaktivedanta Swami knew he would not compromise himself. He would go, chant, and then leave. The important thing was to spread the chanting of Hare Krishna. If thousands of young people gathering to hear rock music could be engaged in hearing and chanting the names of God, then what was the harm? As a preacher, Bhaktivedanta Swami was prepared to go anywhere to spread Krishna consciousness. And since chanting Hare Krishna was absolute, one who heard or chanted the names of Krishna, anyone, anywhere, in any condition, could be saved from falling to the lowest species of next life. How beautiful, no? He's saying, right, anyone, anywhere, in any condition, and one who hears or chants the names of Krishna, they could be saved from falling to the lower species. So, how blessed we are, right? To have this association. Nice. And he's also saying these young hippies wanted something spiritual, but they had no direction. They were confused, accepting hallucination as spiritual vision, but they were seeking genuine spiritual life, just like many of the young people on the lower east side. So Bhaktivedanta Swami decided he would go. His disciples wanted him to, and he was their servant and the servant of Lord Chaitanya. He keeps reiterating that every now and then, and this is about the rock band arrangements which was happening there, the costing part, and all of that is described here. And here they're talking about how people lined up all the way, waiting for tickets at $2.50 and all. And they're also just talking about who all came in, like the LSD pioneer Timothy Leary. He arrived and he got a special seat on stage. Swami Kriyananda came carrying a tambura, and then there was a man wearing a top hat and a suit with a silk sash that said San Francisco arrived, claiming to be the mayor. And at the door, Mukunda stopped a respectably dressed young man who didn't have a ticket. But then someone tapped Mukunda on the shoulder and said, "Let him in. It is all right. He is Owsley." Then Mukunda apologized and submitted, allowing Augustus Owsley Stanley too, who is the folk hero and famous synthesizer of LSD, to enter without a ticket. Right? So this is where we concluded yesterday. Right, Haribol. So we will continue from here. Whoever would like to read, please raise your hands. I will start allowing. Okay. I see Muttamanikam Prabhuji, you've raised your hand. Over to you,
Hare
Prabhuji.
Krishna
Hare
Mataji.
Krishna.
Almost everyone who came over, right, are unusual customer, tribal robes, Mexican ponchos, Indian kurtas, God's eyes, feathers, and beads. Some hippies brought their own flutes, lutes, gourds, drums, rattles, horns, and guitars. The Hells Angels, dirty haired, wearing jeans, boots, and denim jackets, and accompanied by their women, made their entrance, carrying chains, smoking cigarettes, and displaying their regalia of German helmets, emblems, and so on, everything but their motorcycles, which they had parked outside. The devotees began a warm-up kirtana uh, on stage, dancing the way Swamiji had shown them, like incense poured from the stage and from the corners of the large ballrooms. And although most of the audience were high on drugs, the atmosphere was calm. They had come seeking a spiritual experience. As the chanting began very melodiously, some of them musicians took part by playing their instruments. The light show began. Stove lights flashed, colored balls bounced back and forth to the beat of the music. Large blobs of pulsing color splattered across the floor, walls, and ceiling. A little after 8 o'clock, Moby Grape took the stage with heavy electric guitars, electric bass, and two drummers. They launched into their first number. The large speakers shook the ballroom with their vibrations, and roar of approval rose from the audience. Around 9:30, Swamiji left his Frederick Street apartment and got into the back seat of Harvey's Cadillac. He was dressed in his usual saffron robes, and around his neck they wore a garland of gardenias whose sweet aroma filled the car. On the way to Avalon, he talked about the need to open more centers. At 10 o'clock, Swamiji walked up the stairs of the Avalon, followed by Kirtananda and Ranagora. As he entered the ballroom, devotees blew consuls. Someone began a drum roll, and the crowd parted down the center, all the way from the entrance to the stage, opening a path for him to walk with his head held high. Swamiji seemed to float by as he walked through the stage below, making his way across the ballroom floor to the stage. Suddenly, the light show changed. Pictures of Krishna and his pastimes flashed into the wall. Krishna and Arjuna riding together on Arjuna's chariot, Krishna eating butter, Krishna subduing the whirlwind demand, Krishna playing the flute. As Swamiji walked through the crowd, everyone stood applauding and cheering. He climbed the stairs and seated himself softly on a waiting cushion. The crowd quieted. Looking over at Alan Ginsberg, Swamiji said, "You can speak something about the mantra Hare Krishna."
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Danvat Pranams. Thank you so much. Lakshmi Mataji can read Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Hare Krishna everyone. All glories to Srila Prabhupada, Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Alan began to tell of his understanding and experience with the Hare Krishna mantra. He told how Bhaktivedanta Swami had opened a storefront on 2nd Avenue and had chanted Hare Krishna in Tompkins Square Park. And he invited everyone to the Frederick Street Temple. I especially recommend the early morning kirtanas. He said, for those who coming down from LSD want to stabilize their consciousness on re-entry. Swamiji spoke, giving a brief history of the mantra. Then he looked over at Alan again. You may chant. Alan began playing his harmonium and chanting into the microphone, singing the tune he had brought from India. Gradually, more and more people in the audience caught on and began chanting. As the Kirtana continued and the audience got increasingly enthusiastic, musicians from the various bands came on stage to join in. Ranchora, a fair drummer, began playing Moby Mataji.
Mataji, sorry, Mataji. I think my net disconnected. Just 1 minute, Mataji. I'm resharing.
Okay, Mataji.
May I continue?
Yeah, can you see now, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. began playing Moby Grape's drums. Mataji, can you scroll up?
Sorry, Mataji, where were you exactly?
It's here, Mataji. Some of the bass and other guitar players joined in as the devotees, and a large group of hippies mounted the stage. The multicolored oil slicks pulsed, and the balls bounced back and forth to the beat of the mantra now projected onto the wall. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. As the chanting spread throughout the hall, some of the hippies got to their feet, held hands, and danced. Allen Ginsberg, we sang Hare Krishna all evening. It was absolutely great and open thing. It was the height of the Haight Ashbury spiritual enthusiasm. It was the first time that there had been a music scene in San Francisco where everybody could be a part of it and participate. Everybody could sing and dance rather than listen to other people sing and dance. Janaki. People didn't know what they were chanting for, but to see that many people chanting, even though most of them were intoxicated, made Swamiji very happy. He loved and see the people chanting. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Mataji, Danvat Pranams. Thank you so much. Sharmila Mataji, continue Mataji.
Hare Krishna. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Hayagriva. Standing in front of the bands, I could hardly hear, but above all, I could make out the chanting of Hare Krishna building steadily. On the wall behind, a slide projected a huge picture of Krishna in a golden helmet with a peacock feather, a flute in his hand. Then Swamiji stood up, lifted his arms, and began to dance. He gestured for everyone to join him, and those who were still seated stood up and began dancing and chanting and swaying back and forth, following Swamiji's gentle dance. Roger Segal. The ballroom appeared as if it was a human field of wheat blowing in the wind. It produced a calm feeling in contrast to the usual Avalon ballroom atmosphere of gyrating energies. The chanting of Hare Krishna continued for over an hour, and finally, everyone was jumping and yelling, even crying and shouting. Someone placed a microphone before Swamiji, and his voice resounded strongly over the powerful sound system. The tempo quickened. Swamiji was perspiring profusely. Kirtanananda insisted that the kirtana stop. Swamiji was too old for this, he said. It might be harmful. But the chanting continued faster and faster until the words of the mantra finally became indistinguishable amidst the amplified music and the chorus of thousands of voices. Then suddenly it ended, and all that could be heard was the loud hum of the amplifiers and Swamiji's voice ringing out, offering obeisances to his spiritual master. Om Vishnu Pada Paramahamsa Parivrajaka Ashtotara Shatashri Srimad Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. Swamiji made his way off stage through the heavy smoke and crowds and down the front stairs with Kirtanananda and Ranachora close behind him. Alan announced the next rock group. As Swamiji left the ballroom and the appreciative crowd behind, he commented, "This is no place for a brahmachari." Some of Bhaktivedanta Swami's more thoughtful followers in San Francisco felt that certain candidates for initiation did not intend to fulfill the exclusive lifelong commitment a disciple owes to his guru. Swamiji, they would say, some of these people come only for their initiation. We have never seen them before, and we never see them again. Swamiji replied that that was the risk he had to take. One day, in a lecture in the temple, he explained that although the reactions for a disciple's past sins are removed at initiation, the spiritual master remains responsible until the disciple is delivered from the material world. Therefore, he said, Lord Chaitanya warned that a guru should not accept many disciples. Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna.
Thank you, Mataji. Hare Krishna, Hare Bol. Who else would like to read? Hare Krishna. Ravi, Prabhuji, you've raised your hand. Yes, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna, Praveen Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
Would
Dandavad
you
Pranam. Sorry, I was on mute. I kept on reading. Sorry, Mataji. Can I read, Mataji? Ha. Hare Krishna. Am I audible, Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Go ahead, Prabhuji. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Mataji. Okay, thank you. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. One night in the temple, during the question and answer session, a big bearded fellow raised his hand and asked Swamiji, "Can I become initiated?" The brash public request annoyed some of Swamiji's followers, but Swamiji was serene. Yes, he replied. But first, you must answer two questions. Who is Krishna? You must ask two questions. Who is Krishna? The boy thought for a moment and said, Krishna is God. Yes, Swamiji replied. And who are you? Again, the boy thought for a few moments and then replied, I am the servant of God. Very good. Swamiji said then, yes, you can be initiated tomorrow. Bhaktivedanta Swami knew that it would be difficult for his Western disciples to stick to Krishna consciousness and attain the goal of pure devotional service. All their lives, they had the worst of training, and despite their nominal Christianity and philosophical searching, most of them knew nothing of the science of God. They did not even know that illicit sex and meat eating were wrong, although when he told them, they accepted what he said. And they freely chanted Hare Krishna. So how could he refuse them? Of course, whether they would be able to persevere in Krishna consciousness despite the ever-present attractions of Maya. Mataji, may I request to scroll it up, Mataji? Thanks, Mataji. Of course, whether they would be able to persevere in Krishna consciousness despite the ever-present attractions of Maya would be seen in time. Some would fall, that was the human tendency, but some would not. At least those who sincerely followed his instructions to chant Hare Krishna and avoid sinful activities would be successful. Swamiji gave the example that a person could say that today's fresh food, if not properly used, would spoil in few days. But if it is fresh, but if it is fresh now, to say that in the future it will be misused and therefore spoil is a su- only a surmise. Yes, in the future anyone could fall down, but Bhaktivedanta Swami took it as his responsibility to engage his disciples now. And he was giving them the methods which if followed would protect them from ever falling down. Aside from Vedic standards, even by the standard of Swamiji's New York disciples, the devotees in San Francisco were not very strict. Some continued going to the donut shop, eating food without offering it to Krishna, and eating forbidden things like chocolate and commercial ice cream. Some even indulged in after Kirtana cigarette breaks right outside the temple door. Some got initiated without knowing precisely what they had agreed to practice. Kirtanananda. The mood in San Francisco was a lot more relaxed. The devotees liked to go to the corner and have their coffee and donuts. But Swamiji loved the way so many people were coming, and he loved the program at the Avalon Ballroom. But there were two sides, those who strictly followed the rules and regulations and emphasized purity, and then those who were not so concerned about strictness but who wanted to spread Krishna consciousness as widely as possible. Swamiji was so great that he embraced both groups. The morning and evening kirtanas had already made the Radha Krishna temple popular in Hyde Asbury, but when the devotees began serving a daily free lunch, the temple became an integral part of the temple uh, the temple became an integral part of the community. Swamiji told his disciples simply to cook and distribute prasadam. That would be their only activity during the day. In the morning they would cook and at noon they would feed everyone who came, sometimes 150 to 200 rupees from the streets of Ashbury. Before the morning kirtana, the girls would put oatmeal on the stove, and by breakfast there would be a room full of hippies, most of whom had been up all night. The cereal and fruit was for some the first solid food in days. But the main program was the lunch. Malati would go out and shop, getting donations whenever possible for whole wheat flour, garbanzo flour, split peas, rice, and whatever vegetables were cheap or free. Potatoes, carrots, tur- turnips, redbacks, beets. The every day the cooks would prepare spiced mashed potatoes, buttered chapatis, split pea dal, and a vegetable dish. For 200 people, the lunch program was possible because many merchants were willing to donate to the recognized cause of feeding hippies. Hare Krishna Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Dandavat pranams. Thank you.
Mataji. No.
So nice to see you read, Prabhuji. Very good.
Thanks, Mataji. Thanks for the opportunity.
Yeah, thank you so much. Yes, Shweta Mataji, you wanted to say something? Hare Krishna. Was anyone speaking? I missed it. Who would like to read Hare Krishna?
I will read Mataji. May I read? May I read Mataji?
Yes, Prabhuji. Go ahead, Prabhuji.
Harsharani. The lunch program attracted a lot of the peace filled crowd who obviously wanted food. They were really hungry, and there were other people who would come also. People who were working with the temple but weren't initiated. Record player would be playing the record Swamiji had made with his disciples in New York. It was a nice family atmosphere. Haridasa. It was taken outside the front, but the main food was served inside. It was amazing. The people would just fall huddle together and would really line them wall to wall. A lot of them would simply eat and leave. Other stores along Haight Ashbury were selling everything from beats to rock records, but our store was different because we weren't selling anything, we were giving it away. And we were welcoming everybody. We were providing a kind of refuge from the tumult and madness of the scene. So it was in that sense a hospital, and I think a lot of people were helped and maybe even saved. I don't mean only their souls, I mean their minds and bodies were saved because of, because of what was going on in the streets that they just simply couldn't handle. I am talking about overdoses of drugs. People were plain lost and needed comforting, and who sort of wandered and staggered into the temple. Some of them stayed and became devotees, and some just took prasadam and left. Daily we had unusual incident, and Swamiji witnessed it and took part in it. The lunch program was his idea. Those who were more interested and had questions, the spiritual seekers would visit Swami in his room. Many of them would come in complete anxiety over the war in Vietnam or was going on, trouble with the law, bad experiences on drugs, falling out with school or family. There was much public concern about the huge influx of youth in San Francisco, a situation that was creating an almost uncontrollable social problem. The police and social welfare workers were worried about the health problems and poor living conditions, especially in Haight-Hillsbury. Some middle class people feared a complete hippie takeover. The local authorities welcomed the service offered by Swami Bhaktivedanta's temple, and when Sikh leaders in Haight-Ashbury talked of forming a council to deal with the crisis, they requested Swami Bhaktivedanta Swami to take part.
Very nice. Thank you, Prabhuji. Hari Bol. All right. We will just finish this page and then we will continue from tomorrow. Who would like to read? Hare
Can I
Krishna.
read, Mataji?
Yes, Mataji. Go ahead, Mataji.
Hare Krishna. Michael Bowen. Bhaktivedanta had an amazing ability through devotion to get people off drugs, especially speed, heroin, burned out LSD cases, all of that. Haridasa. The police used to come with their paddy wagon through the park in the early hours of the morning and pick up runaway teenagers sleeping in the park. The police would round them up and try to send them back home. The hippies needed all the help they could get, and they knew it. And the Radha Krishna temple was certainly a kind of spiritual heaven. Kids sensed it. They were running, living on the streets, no place where they could go, where they could rest, where people weren't going to hurt them. A lot of kids would literally fall into the temple. I think it saved a lot of lives. There might have been a lot more casualties if it hadn't been for Hare Krishna. It was like opening a temple in a battlefield. It was the hardest place to do it, but it was the place where it was most needed. Although the Swami had no precedence for dealing with any of this, he applied the chanting with miraculous results. The chanting was wonderful. It worked. As Allen Ginsberg had advised 5,000 hippies at the Avalon, the early morning Kirtana at the temple provided a vital community service for those who were coming down from LSD and wanted to stabilize their consciousness on re entry. Allen himself sometimes dropped by in the morning with acquaintances with whom he had stayed up all night, but on occasion the re entries would come flying in out of control for crash landings in the middle of the night. One morning at 2 a.m., the boys sleeping in the storefront were awakened by a pounding at the door, screaming, and police lights. When they opened the door, a young hippie with wild red hair and beard plunged in, crying, "Oh Krishna, Krishna, oh help me! Oh, don't let them get me! Oh, for God's sake, help!" A policeman stuck his head in the door and smiled. "We decided to bring him by here," he said, "because we thought maybe you guys could help him." Hare Krishna Mataji, thank you. And
Hare
with
Krishna,
pronouns.
Mataji. Thank you so much. Wonderful. So we will conclude with this today and we will continue from tomorrow. Lots of interesting things happening, different types of devotees, and look at the confidence Srila Prabhupada has, right? Despite knowing that these people are, intoxicated, they take drugs, and so many things, they are hippies and all of it. Despite that, look at the confidence he has in Krishna consciousness and the Mahamantra, that he confidently attempts it with all this group, and he clearly said, anyone anywhere in any situation, they deserve, this Hare Krishna, Krishna consciousness and Hare Krishna Mahamantra will purify them. So he continuously tries that. I mean, sometimes we might also feel that, is it fine to do it in this situation? What will people think and all of it? But look at Prabhupada. Oh my God, it's so nice to read all of this. Thank you so much, everyone. Apologies for all the technical issues and the delays and all of it, but truly appreciate all your support in joining every single day on time without reminders, which means a lot. So let's continue tomorrow also with same spirit. We will join back at 9 p.m. Hare Krishna. Thank you, everyone. वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः अनंतकोटि वैष्णववृंद की जय जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय थैंक यू एवरीवन
Jai
हरे कृष्ण
Mataji, Hare Krishna.